Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? It's been a while. It's been a while. It has been a while. It's been a long day. I mean, for me, but a long year. And April here, a new spring, and uh, the Arab American finally got their months. The Arab American Heritage Month is in April. African American or Blacks Month, and then the Arab American finally got the month with April Fool, the first day. So very glad to see the State Department in America really start recognizing the role of Arabs the play in building this country and participating in many aspects in politics and culture and movies and economy and everything else. So it's a new shift from the old Orientalist attitude that Americans have toward Arabs. Can't trust them. Not worthy. It's like, they've been treating the blacks. You can see the trial of Derek Chauvin, the killer of George Floyd, is trying to. His lawyer tried to paint Mr. Floyd as a strong, big man that he can tolerate pain, and that is a myth, the myth of the super Negro. It's been a very old myth that's been adapted by so many people in this country throughout the history of racism to justify racism and abuse and killing of black men. And you can see that in the trial. If you watch it closely, you can see the lawyer is trying to see, to measure how big Floyd is and how small Derek Chauvin and the police officer, and kind of playing that racist game. So we've been watching. We're gonna watch you, Mr. Nelson. Don't pull this one more time. The state here and the city here and the country as a whole, there are no mood to hear this bullshit from defense and justification of killing of mostly black men in this country. The new modern lynching is happening. Another killing in Brooklyn Center of young black men. I don't know when this is gonna end. I don't know when this is gonna end. Anyway, today we're gonna have an interview the people behind that show in Minneapolis Institute of Art, Khatt Islāmi exhibition. Khatt Islāmi means script, Islamic script, and this really celebrates how the role that Islam affects African arts, and especially calligraphy. And Arabic calligraphy is considered the highest form of art in Islam. This writing transmits the word of God, and how they write the Qur'an in old days, so many different ways, and the reverence of that khatt, of the script, of how the lines are artistically drafted, it gives it a different meaning, and that started affecting the African arts.
My name is Jan Lurweg Groters, and I'm the curator of African art and the head of the Arts of Africa and the Americas here at MIA. And it's a pleasure to introduce you to an exhibition called Khatt Islāmi, dedicated to Islamic calligraphy on African objects. And calligraphy is the art of beautiful writing and is one of the pillars of artistic expression in the religion of Islam. And that religion is found in many parts of Africa, Northern Africa, West Africa, south of the Sahara, the Horn of Africa, which is...
My name is Emelina Mohammed. I'm a curator and communications manager at the Somali Museum. My collaboration with Jan Ludwig on Khatt Islāmi has been a wonderful experience, putting our expertise from our respective professions together and making a mutually beneficial exhibit for a diverse audience was just incredible.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Hi, Jan. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. I'm glad you. Here she is. Hi, Elena.
Hello.
How are
Hello.
you?
I'm good. How are
Thank you
you?
so much for coming. It is really an amazing exhibition that I went and saw a couple of weeks ago, and I had a private tour with Jan, and it was very, very nice. But we need to hear from you. You know, we have the curator of African art in the Minneapolis Institute of Art, Jan Grotes, and how this is all start. You know?
Over the past 10 years, I've been here for 12 years now. Over the past 10, 12 years, I have consciously tried to acquire artworks from Islamic Africa because that was underrepresented in the collection. And Islam, and before that Christianity, and after, of course, have always influenced African artists because those religions came from the Middle East to various parts of Africa throughout the thousands of years, the last 2,000 years. So I thought it was important to focus especially on Islamic art from Africa because we have such a large community of people from Somalia, but also from West Africa who are Muslims, and from Northern Africa equally. And when I finally thought I can make a selection of that, or it would be nice to make a selection and show that in an exhibition, I immediately realized that I didn't want to do that by myself, not being a Muslim myself, not reading Arabic myself. And that's why I reached out to Amalina, so that we could work together to select the artworks, to think about the didactics, the labels, and the panels, to do that together with some advisors. We had a few external Muslim advisors, and to kind of co-create this exhibition. That's how it started.
So how did you find Melina?
There is one person, an artist, Ifra Mansour, with whom I've worked in the past. I've shown her art here in an exhibition. She has come to the museum to read poetry. And Ifra knows many, many people. So I reached out to Ifra, who knew Amal, and who connected the two of us. That's how we got to know each other.
Okay, wonderful. It is, you know, you see these verses of the Quran written in a very artistic fluidity. There's a fluidity in it. And probably I don't understand Surah Qul Huwallahu Ahad or Surah Al-Kursi. Always Surah Al-Kursi is written probably in 80% of Egyptian Muslims in their... it wasn't. I like that when you wrote on it that it was that artistic form. It was inspired by faith.
Yeah. Well, specifically speaking, with Khatt and how art and faith go hand in hand. We spoke for specifically this exhibit. We spoke to a lot of artists or one artist specifically, mentioned their work with Khatt and calligraphy, and how it's an expression of religion, and how religion is something beautiful to them, and using that art to beautify the religion to the eyes of other people was very important to them. And Islamic calligraphy was a way to kind of do that. It was an expression of faith, and for someone who was interested in art and loved art, the specific calligrapher Shu'aib Sadiqi that we interviewed, he mentioned that he was into cartoon art and making caricatures or just kind of like characters. And so he, as a way to express that he was getting closer to his faith, learning more about his faith, moved towards more acceptable forms of that. And calligraphy was one of those ways. And so I think it just kind of shows the bond between how someone's hobbies and religion doesn't have too much change, just be altered in a specific way where it can be harmonious to one another. And I think that's very great. And especially and with Africans and Somalia specifically, faith and culture go very hand in hand. It's not
Quranic script or Islamic script, not just to education and write on the board and teach people how you write and how you speak Arabic, but also in how Quranic script, Islamic script, used in health and treatments.
Yes. In specifically in Somalia, and the practices that I grew up around in my family and my neighborhood, we would have, of course, our imams or sheikhs who did Quranic healing for people when they were ill or anything. They would use Quranic verses and read it into a bowl of water, for instance, and we called it tahleel. And so the Quranic verses would be read into this water and be drunk by family members. Myself, I've drank in this water many times. And so it was a form of healing, and it was a form of kind of used for health and in any way. And so any illness and any illness that had you was completely gone. And so that I think is a way we can relate. And so.
Jan, you had this exhibit for what? How many weeks now?
So we opened at the end of October, but unfortunately the museum had to close down again in mid-November, so there was an interruption, and then we reopened in mid-February, and it will come down definitely on August 1st. So there's still a couple of months that it will have its run.
Whom you so far, who's coming to see that exhibit from your casual observation?
I really observe a mix of visitors, and of course we are only open 4 days a week, but I'm glad that both non-Muslims and Muslims I've seen walk through the galleries, and with different reactions and often great joy and enjoyment. And I will share with you a reaction we had last week, which was critical, and we took it very seriously. And it had nothing to do with our exhibition, Amal's and my exhibition per se, but it had to do with a gallery that was next door, so to say. And we got a reaction from a young Muslim woman who said that she was reading verses from the Quran in this gallery, and when she looked at the Native American gallery, which is 2 doors further down, there was a photograph, an artwork by a native photographer of a naked woman. And she was disturbed by that. And she thought it was kind of a bad juxtaposition. And we hadn't thought of that. I don't know, Amalina, if you ever looked at that and connected it to the Khatt Islāmi exhibition, but we took it down. We took the photo down and we placed it somewhere else where it was not visible from Khatt Islāmi. And we put a painting in its place. And so that is, I thought, a very good lesson, that these art galleries, we think that, I mean, when I go into that gallery, I really focus on that gallery, and when I see things outside, my brain doesn't connect that to my experience in the gallery. But for visitors, there is this connection, and so one has to take that into account. It's an anecdote.
So this exhibit is gonna last until when?
until August 1st.
So,
Yeah.
so we have time there. So, Amelina, if somebody wants to see the gallery, is there any specific pieces or specific something you wanna share with them and make sure they see that before they leave?
Yes, I specifically love the board that has, even though it has, unintelligible writing on it. The board that is written by a child that we personally deciphered that may be written by a young child or young student who's learning how to write on this board. So you can't really read any of the words, but to me, it kind of shows or reminds me back to my days as a young student learning how to write in Arabic and read in Arabic. How even though I was learning on paper and writing in a book, that there was another student somewhere across the world writing in a different form, but we were doing the same thing essentially. So that connection that I had personally, I think anyone might have if they were in any way or form a student in their life. I would encourage everyone to look at the different boards when you go to Khatt Islāmi. It is the staple within the middle of the room. As soon as you walk in, it's a bunch of boards from different parts of Eastern Africa, and they're all beautiful. And so I, encourage that you definitely take some time with them. Yeah.
It's really, I like that. That pottery what has Hoa is written all over there. It's coming from Morocco. Morocco?
From Tunisia, yes.
Tunisia, okay, yeah.
So, well, and allow me to say something about that, because that's a very good point, Ahmed.
Yeah.
When Amelina earlier mentioned the vocal aspect of Islam, and of course there is an auditory component. Even the Quran is recited, and so we couldn't really copy that or install that in the gallery. But what we tried to do is to include Sufi music, Sufi chanting, and this vase that this ceramics that you referred to by the Tunisian artist Khaled Ben Slimane. He's Sufi himself, and his calligraphy really is dancing around the pot with this word hua, hua, hua. Yeah. And so and that's how we try to connect the visual with the auditory, which is so important in the religion of Islam and in the art of Islam.
Almost a crossroad between the physical world and the spiritual world. Yes. Before your eyes. It was just an amazing things. So this is a great exhibition, Khatt Islāmi exhibition at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. And, we have, it's really behind this work, a lot of people, but mainly Amelina Mohammed. She is coming from the Somali Museum of Minnesota, and also Jan Grutos, which he is a curator of African arts of Minneapolis Institute of Art. And I think I encourage people to just take a look and break away from that lockdown and pandemic, and see it's very refreshing and very different. And thank you so much, Jan. Thank you so much, Amelina. Enjoy the rest of the week and certain days, right?
Yes, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And the time frame?
10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Here we go. So you have it. At lunchtime, they have a nice restaurant there where they have cappuccino. You can have lunch, and they have an out seating, so you can keep your social distancing, and so there is no excuse. So enjoy it, and thank you guys. Thank you so much for
very much, Ahmed. And please, I want to wish both of you a happy month of Ramadan.
Yes. Yes. It's tomorrow, isn't it?
It's tomorrow. Yes.
Are you gonna fast, Amelina, or you just like every year?
I'm fasting. Yes, definitely.
That's usually how the Egyptian tease each other. Are you gonna fast or like every year? You know that kind of. You know Egyptian. Sense
I
of
love
humor.
them.
Enjoy Ramadan, and it's
Thank you,
a
you
very
too.
nice spiritual
Ramadan
month, and
Mubarak.
that will be a very nice venue for all Muslims. I mean, they're
Yeah.
fasting all day, so have nothing else to
Yeah.
do. Just go see an Islamic gallery, and
Exhibit.
I think it's
Yeah.
very fitting.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll see you guys, and
Enjoy.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
طرقت باب الرجاء والناس قد رقدوا وبت أشكو إلى مولاي ما أجد وقلت يا قلت يا أملي في كل نائبة يا من علي لكشف الضر أعتمد أشكو إليك أمورا أنت تعلمها مالي على حملها صبر ولا جلد وقد مددت يدي يا رب وقد مددت يدي بالذل منكسرا إليك يا خير من مدت إليه يا